Welcome back to She Talks Money. Today's conversation is about thinking bigger. Bigger than your hometown, bigger than your comfort zone, bigger than the version of success you thought was possible. Because I truly believe that one of the fastest ways we grow is by exposing ourselves to different people, different cultures, different ideas, and different ways of thinking. And today's guest embodies that mindset. Julissa Fuentes-Roberts is a realtor, entrepreneur, and relationship builder who has created a career by combining heart, strategy, innovation, and a global perspective. She serves clients here in Minnesota while also helping people understand the possibilities of international real estate and building relationships that extend far beyond state lines. She's passionate about using technology, embracing new ideas, and helping others see opportunities they may never have considered. So today we're talking about building a business with purpose, creating opportunities through relationships, why thinking globally changes the way you build wealth, technology and AI in real estate, leadership and building a team, and having the courage to pursue a vision that's bigger than yourself. Welcome, Julissa, to She Talks Money.
Thank you. That is quite the intro.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Want to make you feel welcome. So I always like to start at the beginning. So before real estate, who was Julissa and what experiences shaped the woman you are today?
I love that. Well, before real estate, I was a very global person, so it's funny
Okay.
you ask. My degree was in international business, and so I worked corporate. I worked for the last company before real estate. I worked in international logistics with clients in Central and South America.
Okay.
But I think that the reason that it was always something that was really important to me is because my mom's from Peru.
Mhm.
And so, growing up bilingual was
Mhm.
always something that just kind of helped feed that. But also my dad, being a white guy from North Dakota, always loved and cared about learning about other cultures. And so he actually learned Spanish living in Mexico for a couple years as a youth minister.
Oh,
So,
amazing.
it's the travel's in the blood.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
So you didn't get into real estate just to sell houses, though. What was it that first attracted you to this industry?
No, I actually got into real estate because my mom suggested that instead of getting an apartment with my sister when I got my first big girl job, that I needed to get a duplex. And when she went, it made
smart
sense.
mom. I
She
love
made
it.
sense. And I was like, okay, fine. I guess that's one way to get me to move home for a little bit. That was her reason.
I was like, yeah, that was really what was up her sleeve.
Genuinely, it was the best gift she could have given me. Her condition was you move home and you put aside what you would have put towards rent, towards
Okay.
a down payment. And I think it was like 11 months later, I got my first duplex.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. Absolutely. Great advice. So looking back, what's one decision early in your career that completely changed your trajectory?
I mean, oh gosh. Completely. That's a tough question. I would say that the purchase of the duplex was probably the thing. Yeah, because I was being in the corporate world, I felt like I was in a good trajectory, if you
Sure.
will. But it wasn't what I wanted long term.
Yeah.
And so when I wasn't loving my career and I was questioning what could I do,
Mm-hmm.
having that duplex already and thinking, okay, worst case scenario, I get my license and I'm a better landlord.
Yeah.
And best case scenario, it's almost 9 years later and here we are.
Yeah.
So
And I'm going to guess the equity that you built in that duplex created some opportunities.
wild.
Yeah. Right.
Wild. Yeah, it's so funny looking back because for me, I feel very lucky that my standards were so low. All I wanted was something that, some of the places I saw were pretty crazy. Just my budget wasn't anything out of the extraordinary. But because I was able to get something that was at least somewhat solid and get me some rental income, that has afforded me so many things.
Yeah.
Looking back. So,
Yeah. I was just recording an episode on the things that, we did that changed us financially. And it was like that first house
Yeah.
living below our means for a while,
Yeah.
and then keeping that as a rental were really big
Yes.
pivotal points in our financial lives. So
No,
amazing.
I agree. And I think just one quick note on that
Mhm.
too. I think that's the hard thing, is that you have to be okay with imperfection at the
Mhm.
beginning,
Yes.
because I think that social media maybe doesn't help when
Yeah.
you look at all the pretty things. Like, you have to make it pretty for yourself.
Yes. And the HGTVs, I think, has just destroyed first-time
Oh,
home
I'm a
buyers.
sucker for it all.
But the perspectives is like, wait a minute, this is
Yeah.
like, think of this as a building block. Like,
Yes.
it's better than rent. And when you compare, most people are in this tiny, small apartment right now. Like,
Yeah.
this is a good improvement.
Yeah.
we're just not to the dream house yet, but let's step
I
by
learned a
step.
lot. I learned
Yeah.
plumbing. I learned all kinds of things.
Exactly. I'm doing my first flips and I'm learning a lot that I didn't
Great.
already even know. So
Yeah.
good opportunities. So every entrepreneur has moments where they question themselves. Was there ever a season where you wondered if this business was going to work?
Oh my gosh, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like even now sometimes, but
Yeah.
I think that it all has to do with questioning, is what I'm doing having an impact?
Mm,
And
yeah.
I think that sometimes that just happens. I think a big portion of our job is problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, the what we're helping people do, it's a simple formula, but it's not simple when there are people involved.
Yeah.
And so being able to problem solve is a
Mm-hmm.
big piece of that. But that doesn't necessarily make it easy when people's emotions are involved and
Yeah.
when people's money is involved, livelihoods.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that anytime there's a hard thing happening, of course, you might question it a little bit,
Yeah.
but then you get on the other side and you're like, nope, this is why.
Yeah.
If it was easy, I don't think we'd appreciate what we were doing.
Yeah, a couple things to add to that. First of all, I mean, we're on the finance side, but still very similar with regard to the market and ups and downs. And
Yeah.
my husband is probably the reason I'm still in this career, because he would be like, "Jen, it's a marathon, not a race." Like, he'd constantly remind me it's a marathon. And that is this business, like, to your point, it's so relationship based, and you can almost tell the people, the new agents, the new loan officers that get into it right out the gate, if their intentions is transactional and making money, you're probably not going to survive, because it has to be about the relationships, and you're doing what you're doing for the people and their goals, not yours, or you're not going to make it or do very well, right? So
Yeah.
what helped you keep going during those seasons, do you think?
I mean, I think for me, often it's a big piece of it is, okay, let's revisit this feeling once I'm through this hard thing.
Yeah.
So, like, usually when I'm feeling this way, it's because I'm going through a hard thing.
Yes.
And so, with every low point, just like
Mhm.
with every high point, there's,
Yes.
it doesn't last forever. And so, usually I just need to give it a second.
You know what's beautiful about that too? I just read an article about one of the top things incredibly successful women have in common, and that they do, is reflection.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
They reflect regularly. And that's exactly what you're saying, right? Get through the hard time, but then reflect on it. Because then the next hard time that comes up, it's like that muscle memory, right? You can
Mhm.
remember, like, okay, I know we're feeling this right now, but I know what it feels like on the other side of it too. So
Yeah.
it's easier to keep pushing through.
You cannot sleep on gratitude either.
No,
You
no.
You can't.
I love that. So you've built your business through relationships. What have you learned about earning people's trust?
Ooh, I love that. It's actually kind of funny because I think that was how I have always led from the very beginning. And I think that was honestly why I was probably a little bit insecure to start out, because
Mhm.
I would ask myself, who am I? I'm new here. Why would anybody trust me to
Mhm.
help them with this thing?
Mhm.
And so I think that one thing that really helped was in wanting to educate myself and then position myself as an educator with my clients.
Yeah.
That's always been how I lead any conversation. And so even now, if I'm meeting with a prospective client, the conversation is first a discovery call. I'm
Yeah.
rarely, and I know that there's business people out there who say you're supposed to assign them on the first meeting. And
Yeah.
that's just not my
Yeah.
style, because at the end of the day, I have also learned what it's like when I'm working with a client that doesn't trust me,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody feels like they won at the end of a transaction like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, I'd much rather earn your trust by showing you my value.
Mm-hmm.
And once you've decided it's the right fit and I've decided it's the right fit, then we work together.
Yeah. I
So
love that. I love that. All right. So one thing I admire about you is that you're always learning and looking for new opportunities. So where do you think that curiosity comes from?
oh man, I would say it probably comes from my dad. He's very, very inquisitive. He's
Okay.
always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for better or worse, I was just talking about this last week. My dad used to always say to us growing up that we need to trust him when he tells us that we need to do something, but that we were always allowed to ask why. So
Mm-hmm.
our mantra growing up was always, okay, but why?
Yeah.
And so for me, I like to understand the reasoning behind something because
Mm-hmm.
if I understand the why, I can get behind it. And so by being curious, I also find that I'm able to get past what sometimes on face value looks like a disagreement
Mm-hmm.
and actually find middle ground.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
he reminds me of my dad. He sounds like a great guy.
he's pretty great.
My dad used to be the same way, and he's like, I'll give you an answer, I'll explain why. And you can always give me your perspective or why you think otherwise. And he always thought I was going to be an attorney because I would go to my room and I would like think through it and I'd be like, okay,
That is so funny.
here's point number 1, and this is why I should get to this party tonight.
Full presentation mode. I can totally relate.
And I know how he felt now because my daughter does the same thing to me. And I'm like, oh, you got that from me. All right. So how has travel or simply being exposed to different cultures and perspectives changed the way you think about business and life?
Oh my gosh, it's been the greatest gift, I think.
Love
And I
it.
think I appreciate it more and more as I get older.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew or realized how traveling at such a young age
Mm-hmm.
gave me even just the basic perspective of understanding that there are other perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was taking us to Peru all the time when we were younger, but I vividly remember she got a study abroad opportunity in Spain, and
Wow.
her cousin lives in France. So my sister and I, at 5 and 3 years old, went to France for about 2 months. And I
Wow.
still remember bits and pieces of that trip. And I even just being in a country where a different language, I didn't understand everybody. Like
Mm-hmm.
those kinds of things stick with you. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that as an adult, I have definitely benefited from something that I totally took for granted
Oh, for
when I was
sure.
younger.
Yeah, I love that. That's why we travel as much as we can with our kids too. I mean, school is super important, but we don't hesitate to take them out for a few days or a week and visit a different country because they
Yeah.
learn so much more
Oh my
just being
gosh.
exposed to other cultures and languages and ways of life and all of it. So I
There
love
are
that.
opportunities, like, you can do it for cheap. You can do it for
Oh, for
really, really
sure.
cheap. I mean,
Yeah.
I was on Spirit all the time when I was younger. Maybe
Good
not
old
as much
Spirit.
now, but
I don't know that I'm going there. All right. So, I know that international real estate obviously is something that you're passionate about. For someone who's never even considered buying property outside the US, why should they at least be curious about it?
You know, I feel like it really kind of does depend on what your long-term goals are.
Hmm.
However, I think that the biggest thing I would say is that if it's something that you're even curious about,
Hmm.
it's worth exploring because it's probably just not as difficult as you thought it
Right.
was.
Right.
And it's been happening forever, but I think that the world is getting smaller and smaller. And so
Sure.
the opportunities are getting more and more. And so I think the question really just becomes, what is it that you're trying to do? Who do you need to know to make it happen?
Hmm.
And so the role that I have has transitioned just a little bit from the perspective of now I become the connector that
Hmm.
helps you know which questions you even need to be asking as far
Sure.
as visas and, money and all
Yeah.
of that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't even think about that, but a fear, right? They're like scared. They're going to
Totally.
be taken advantage of or whatever. But it's
Hmm.
great to have someone like you that can kind of act like as a liaison, I guess, so to speak, and translate some of that. And I'm really interested. Because I think there's opportunities, not just, I think some people think like, oh, it would be a place that I'm going to go live. Someday I want to have I don't know what they call them in Italy. I want to have a place in Italy, but a villa or something in Italy. But that's not necessarily the case either. You and I were talking about like apartment complexes and like developments that as an investor, that's where my mind goes. Investing in real estate internationally can be quite lucrative.
Yeah,
as well.
there's lots of opportunities to get in, purchase plots before they're built and sell them immediately once they're done. And the returns can be super, super lucrative. Right now, I'm kind of on the other side of things too, which has been super interesting. I have a client who bought property almost 30 years ago in Dominican Republic, and now we're untangling some.
And now they're retiring.
Stuff. Yeah, right. Oh my gosh! Well, I'm excited to get through everything and figure out what's going on there. But even having those properties that are buildable and
that's huge.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. Are there common misconceptions people have about international real estate that you see?
I'm new enough in this that I don't know what all the common misconceptions are.
Fair enough.
To be fair. But what I will say is that I think you kind of touched on it. The biggest thing is if you have something that you're excited about doing here, chances are if there's a place you're interested in, you can probably do it there too. And so my mom, for example, she wants to retire back in Peru. And so she bought her place. And her plan is that she wants to rent it out half the year and still be home half the year.
Yeah.
And so there's lots of different opportunities like that. So.
Love it. Love it. And we'll make sure all of Julissa's information is in the show notes. So if you're thinking, hey, I'm interested in that, we will make sure you can contact her. Because I know she and I are going to have a sit-in pretty soon about that as well.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, so switching gears a little bit to technology, one thing we've talked about before is your excitement around AI. I was blown away. The first time I met her, she's got like her laptop and like all of these things running her email. And I'm like, girl, like, can you just teach me? So how do you see technology changing the real estate industry?
It's so funny you say that because I look at some people and I'm like, I feel so far behind and archaic. So it's super fun. I think the biggest thing for me is figuring out the balance between learning something and having it actually help me do things better and more quickly versus is this just another shiny object?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm treating it as like an assistant research, a way for me to be able to streamline some of the things that I'm doing. And so how it changes things for me is maybe just the perspective of I have access to a lot more quickly.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm learning about myself is that I can't allow that to cause me to multitask too much.
Yeah. Or get lazy, right? Not check things.
Right.
Can be a big mistake.
Yes.
Yeah.
I made that mistake very, very early on. I have not made it since.
Yeah.
But
One time.
Yes.
So some people worry about technology, like will replace relationships. You seem to believe the opposite. Why?
Oh, I mean, I think the biggest thing is that you're still you still have to maintain a relationship with people, and people can also tell when you're using AI,
for sure.
if you're using it as a relationship builder, if you're automating systems. And so I think that there's a very fine line between letting a client know, hey, there's certain things in our process that are automated. For example, on my listings, all of my clients get a full report every Monday. But then we still have an opportunity to talk. And there's still a section that I personally write out that has my thoughts and ideas. And so it's a balance between, yes, there's a lot of stuff that I leverage and a lot of information that gets pulled automatically, but I'm always going to have a personal view and I'm going to keep my eye on and have a pulse on everything. So.
It's kind of just like the assistant on your team, right? Like they know their responsibilities, they're doing their job. You're still keeping an eye on them and checking in to make sure it's being done correctly.
Right.
So what tools or habits have made kind of the biggest difference in helping you work smarter instead of just harder?
My favorite tool that I'm going to plug, and it's totally free, is called Granola.
Oh.
Granola AI is basically it's a lot of people are using Otter, I think, for like
Oh, yeah.
calls and
Yeah.
stuff.
Recordings.
So what I love about Granola is you can use it in in-person meetings, online meetings, but you can also take your own notes and it'll integrate the AI notes with your notes and then
Oh.
you can chat with it. So
Oh.
I am much quicker after a meeting with a client
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to sending a recap email.
Yes.
It still comes from me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still reviewing everything. It's not completely automated because I want to make sure that I see what's coming out of there
Mm-hmm.
because I think that that's what's hard is some of these AI systems that send these
Yes.
recaps that are not really fully
Yes.
accurate.
Yep.
And so that's been a really and even
Yeah.
like big meetings,
Mm-hmm.
I come in as the hero and I do almost next to nothing when
Yeah.
I send those
Right.
recaps. So yeah, that's
I
huge.
love that. I recently got a pocket recorder
Yeah.
because when I'm in person meetings, like I want to I really want to listen, right? I
Yeah.
want to be unclear. I don't want to be taking notes. That's weird. Like I just want to be completely engaged. My memory is horrible. So
Yeah.
like and I can get distracted if you say something that's really intriguing
Right.
or that I'm like, "Oh, I have to remember to tell her about this." And like all of a sudden then you're
Yes.
not really listening. So it's a great tool to make sure I don't miss any points. But to
Yeah.
your point, we're not like just letting it send it like produce a transcript and then auto send it without reviewing it. And it's more
Right.
for my purposes of
Yeah.
remembering the important things and still being able to be engaged in a conversation.
Yeah.
So
There are certain cheat codes that are totally
yeah.
valid. And
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think that's one of them.
100%. 100%. All right. So leadership and building, you're building something bigger than just your own production. What excites you about building a team?
I think that the biggest thing about moving into building teams is the opportunity to have a reach that's further than my one-on-one with a client.
Yeah.
Um, just even seeing my dad joined me just over a year ago and seeing his development,
Yeah.
it's such a funny switch of roles to begin with, but to be in a position where I'm now helping other people build their long-term dreams as a career and not
Mm-hmm.
just in their homes
Mm-hmm.
is crazy rewarding.
Oh, for sure.
Crazy rewarding.
For sure. And I think that's kind of a natural pivot. Like I'm at that point in my career too. Like I love working with my clients, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but to help other people grow into potential is just super awesome and to your,
Mhm.
like you said, exactly rewarding. So when you think about the kind of people that you want to surround yourself with, what qualities matter most?
Smarter than me, better than me, challenging me. Like, honestly, I think if I'm not around people who are just exciting and full of energy, it's hard for me to stay excited and full of energy. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm always learning. So I will always want to be around people that are doing crazy things.
And I think like that answer right there says so much about your character because how many people when they hire people like they want to be the smarter one or the better one. You know what I
I
mean?
agree
And
with
that's
that.
okay, so what do you hope people feel after working with you? Not just what you hope they think, but how do you hope they feel?
What I want people to feel after working with me is that they felt good about their decisions
Mm,
and informed about them.
yeah.
I never want anyone to feel like they were pushed into a position that they didn't want to be in.
Yeah.
And so, as long as they're informed of all of their options, I think that that's probably the most important. And then
Yeah.
also that they're a step closer to whatever their ultimate goal is.
Yeah.
I think that that's the biggest thing because again for me it's not about what's the next transaction, it's
Yeah.
how does this puzzle piece fit into the
Mhm.
big picture plan.
Long-term financial goal. Love
Yeah.
it. Love it. Okay, so pivoting a little bit now to women, money, and confidence. I think so many women underestimate what's possible for them financially. So have you seen that in your clients or just even the women that you work with?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the biggest hurdle is usually asking the questions.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is just a women thing, but I feel like it might be. It's this feeling that you have to be put together before going to ask for help. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want a cleaner to come over until the house has been tidied up a little bit by you
That's
first.
so funny.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like when you're going to have somebody look through your financials, the last thing you want
Yeah.
is to not to have answers to every single question, right?
Yeah.
So building the trust that it's okay.
Yeah.
In fact, it's normal
Mm-hmm.
and to be expected. And the only way that we're going to get on the other side of that is for you to trust that I have zero judgment and I want to fact find with you and I want to figure out a plan with you.
Yeah.
Because I think that too, ultimately on the other side of whatever we think the plan is, sometimes there's like a faster way, a better way, something that's going to get you there in an even funner way, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that that's probably the biggest thing. Like you don't have to be put together.
Love it. If someone listening is feeling intimidated by buying a home or making an investment, what would you tell them?
Reach out.
Yeah.
It's
We'll guide you through it,
yeah.
right? It's so much simpler
Yeah.
than people think it is.
Yeah, and you're lucky enough that you don't have to pay us to
Yeah.
we'll buy you a coffee probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We'll take you out.
You'll win. You'll end up up.
Yes, yes.
Love it. So what do you think what's something you've had to unlearn in order to become the woman you are today? Is there anything?
That I have to have all the answers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that like I was talking about earlier with this feeling of like why would someone work with me? I don't know everything. And now I know that that is probably a strength for me to know that I don't know everything because now I can tell you I don't have the answer, but I know who does and I can find it for you and we can figure it out together. And these are your options.
Yeah.
So getting over my own ego there has probably been the
Yeah.
biggest. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. And how has success changed your definition of success?
Ooh. You know, I think I've been reading a lot of Joe Dispenza lately.
Yes. Love Joe Dispenza.
So you can relate to
Yes.
this when I say that there's not really an end goal anymore for me. And so really truly knowing that I am on the right path and feeling confident that every decision I'm making daily is on that path
Yeah.
feels successful for me.
Yeah.
And I know when I'm off. Like I know when I need to get back to that gratitude journal. I know when my mindset is not in the right place. And so it's yes, I have big goals, but that's not how I define success anymore.
I love that. And so much more peaceful. Don't you find it way more peaceful? Like I worked on that a lot lately too, and just letting go of the end. Like I have to have this all figured out and just being grateful for where I'm at, what I've done so far, and being open to the opportunities that come my way and just kind of just trucking along, doing what I know I have to do. And yeah.
I think to your point that peace comes from this feeling of letting go of feeling like you control what that looks like.
Yes.
And instead, when things are really going right, you just feel that alignment happening.
Yes.
And that does feel a lot more peaceful because you're not working against something or being impatient about it.
Yes. Yes, for sure. And what are you dreaming about now that maybe would have felt completely impossible 5 years ago?
I mean, I would say international real estate
Okay.
is
Love it.
definitely up there for me. Yeah, I mean, even 2 years ago, I never would have expected that I was going to be in Spain at a conference and talking real estate, or that I'd be representing clients within 2 months of even saying out loud that I want to do international real estate. Like that's wild.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, final question. If every woman listening walked away believing one thing about herself after today's conversation, what would you hope that belief would be?
I mean, immediately what comes to mind is I can.
Yes.
And it feels so basic, and yet it's so important. And it's something I have to remind myself all the time.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. I love that. Julissa, thank you so much for being here. One of the biggest takeaways from today's conversation is that opportunities often begin the moment we're willing to think beyond what feels familiar or possible. Whether that's investing in real estate, building a business, learning a new skill, or simply believing that your life can become bigger than you ever imagined. I hope today's conversation reminded you that wealth just isn't about money. It's about expanding your perspectives, investing in relationships, staying curious, and having the courage to pursue opportunities, even the ones that feel a little outside your comfort zone. So if you'd like to connect with Julissa, we'll have all of her information again linked in the show notes. And if today's episode inspired you, I have a challenge. Think of one woman in your life who is ready for the next chapter. Maybe she's dreaming about buying her first home, starting a business, making an investment. Maybe you want to buy a villa in France or Italy together, or simply believing in herself a little more. Send her this episode, because sometimes all it takes is just one conversation to help someone start thinking bigger. Thank you for spending time with us. And until next time, keep building wealth, keep building relationships, and keep becoming the woman you're meant to be. We'll see you next week.